well, if you're going to be a man who's so strong in your manhood and so strong in your masculinity, why do you give a shit what someone else is doing with their fashion choices? Like,
yeah.
Right.
you know, my wife doesn't love that I
yourself.
have a mustache. She cares about that as much as she does me painting my nails. And that's, you don't have to paint your nails. You don't have to like people with painted nails, but you probably shouldn't think less of them for having their nails painted, you know?
Or a mustache.
Yeah, yeah.
You do you, boo. Sometimes.
Just sometimes, the sequel is better than the original.
From setbacks to comebacks, this is Love Take Two. Let's go. Hi, Jose.
What's up, Jamie?
How you doing?
I'm great.
How's everybody at home? They're great. No, okay. That was so dumb.
Is that how the rest of them, everybody sounds like?
That's
with
what
that
they
voice?
sound like. Yeah. You know I do voices for a living.
I do,
That
I
was
do.
so talented right there. Like you got in there.
Everyone out there is a cartoon.
Yes, in my head.
Yeah.
No, not really. Let's tell them about
J.
the guest.
Gregg.
J. Gregg.
J. Gregg.
Jonathan Gregg, a.k.a. J. Gregg.
Yeah.
I'm so excited.
We absolutely love him. He's a content creator, social media, dad, powerhouse, and he is heterosexual.
Yes, he is.
And
we do know those people.
Yes. Every once in a while, we'll let him in.
Yeah.
Let him in. He's really great because he's really kind of turning the whole what it is to be a father, the whole masculinity thing on its head.
Yeah.
So he's teaching in the same ways that I do with my own kids, but it's really special, I think, coming from a heterosexual man where he's showing the kids how to be compassionate. And I think he first blew up because he was painting his nails.
Yeah. On social media. He blew up.
And people were coming after him. And then he was like, and then he started doing videos.
He like doubled down.
Yeah. Double down on that on that polish.
And he's an actor and a stand-up comedian, and he's really taking off with this content creation that he's making that's like really turning the world on its axis in a good way. And I love him, and I know him from the theater world. Let's do what we always do. Let's start with our take two and take it down moments of the week.
Yeah.
Take two, I want more of this in my life. And I feel like our take two is also us trying to cultivate more of what we love in our lives. Like, let's think of it that we are manifesting more of this, and I need to manifest more of this. My children, I left them without me, alone for the first time, 12 and 8. So I was able to leave 12-year-old in charge of 8-year-old because I had a work emergency and I just couldn't. And so it was like, okay, we got to do this. Are you sure you're not going to kill him? Are you promise me? And it worked out well. And they got along. And my son even loved it. And then I came home and they like conspired together to like try to lie and say they both did their homework. And it was like the cutest thing because they were like bonding.
You want some of that?
I want more.
Yeah.
Like they got along, they made it happen,
Okay.
and they enjoyed it, and they enjoy each other. And my daughter even said to my son, "Yeah, I like you," last night.
Wow.
Big.
That's huge.
Huge. So take two of that. Take down, like on the apps, like if you make sometimes I comment on people's posts because they think, oh, that's so cool. How awesome.
Yeah.
And now Instagram tells you when other people like your comment on somebody else's post. I don't care. Why is it telling me that? And why do I keep getting alerts? Alert. This person liked your comment.
It's like
I
your
don't
leg
care.
is constantly vibrating.
Yeah, it's not my post. I want to know who liked my post.
But girl, you can
Not my comment.
There it is.
Yeah.
Wait, but there's a way to change that. You could just change it. You just go to notifications and take away
that notification.
That notification.
I can take that away.
Yes.
Oh.
You could take it down.
Take it
today.
down. I could take it down.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take that down.
Take it down.
I don't need to know when people like what I commented on.
Yeah.
Tell me when they liked my. Can you all go and like my posts? No, just kidding.
Now.
Just kidding. Okay, what are yours?
My take two is more independence with my kids. It's a bit similar to yours, except I specifically mean them going to school on their own. Like my girls had just started middle school, and so I started taking them to school. But I'm realizing, okay, now I have 3 kids in middle school. I'm ready to do the take two of them walking on their own. Because I had that for a while, right?
Yeah.
The first time for a year, they were going on their own.
Yeah.
From elementary school because it was so close. But now I'm ready for the take two of taking themselves to middle school.
Independence, baby.
Independence.
Yep.
Yes. My
I hear
takedown
that.
no more school lunches. I don't want to make them anymore. I'm done. I'm taking it down. They've got amazing choices at the school, even if it's not so amazing certain days. I'm over it. I want my mornings back.
They don't even eat what you pack anyway.
Do they not?
Sometimes.
I believe that.
Yeah, they don't eat it all.
They don't, do they?
They don't. They really don't.
So what the hell am I doing?
They're busy socializing.
I'm wasting
Telling you.
time.
Okay, so we want to hear yours at home. So if you're listening or you're watching on Spotify, you can just write a comment in the section that says comments. If not, you can always DM us on Instagram at LoveTake2Pod. And you might even end up on the show. Your Take Two might
Or on
be that
YouTube.
good.
Don't
or
forget
YouTube.
YouTube.
Also on YouTube, Love Take Two Podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah. So tell us. We want to hear. Let's bring this conversation in. J. Gregg, come on in. He's not even
Let's go. He's
here.
not.
I
Where
don't
is
know
he?
why I keep saying
Let's,
that.
like,
Roll the tape.
roll it.
Hi, J. Gregg.
Hi.
So we already had this discussion. Your actual name is Jonathan Gregg,
That's true.
but I know you as J. Gregg
That's
because that's
I
what
mean, the
all
world
the cool
knows
people
you
call you.
as J. Gregg.
Right,
It's,
exactly.
it's even in the handle.
It's in the handle.
I accept that it's part of my name in the world, and I love that. Tom, the director that we both worked with, who I co-host our podcast with, is the one who came up with that name, and he's really good at getting people on board with things. And that nickname was one of those things, and he just spread it, and it took. So it's been 15 years now that I've been J. Gregg as much, if not more, than I'm Jonathan. Back in the day, back when like when we were doing shows in church basements in Astoria, and I was dating long before my wife came along, but I was dating. I had women I dated that called me J. Gregg like the whole time. That felt weird. That was kind of a strange,
Really?
like a nickname in a relationship, but
Interesting.
it's just stuck. So don't worry about it. Plenty of people out there don't even know that my name's Jonathan.
Let me ask you
Yes.
before we get into like your take one and take two and all the things. Do you get recognized on the street at this point?
A little
You
bit sometimes.
totally do.
A little bit.
God dang
Not-
it.
not in
How
New-
come I don't get recognized?
I don't know how you do not.
I'm not there yet.
I don't in the city a lot though. I really don't. Like Tom and I have been out a couple times, and people recognize him from the podcast.
Really?
I'll be at a gay bar, or we'll be out at a party or something, and so the scene will be more of a gay scene, and he'll get recognized.
Yeah.
I don't get recognized in the city. I get recognized in the suburbs. I get recognized like in Jersey on vacation, or like in
Interesting.
Connecticut, or like in Atlanta when I was traveling. It's like the moms, you know,
I
it's
was
like the
gonna
families
say,
outside the
The
city.
family.
It's the moms that are like into
Yeah.
you.
Also, I love that you still like frequent gay bars with
Of
your gay
course.
best friend.
Yeah.
And we're gonna get into that. But also, I will say I was recognized once. I got recognized at a women's soccer game.
That's pretty
That tracks.
typical.
Yeah, that tracks.
That tracks. I
That's-
mean, that is all the most lesbians in one time that you could put together.
Yeah, but it's a good target demographic to hit. It's a good place to be recognized.
I know. I should
That is
just
a good
bring
place.
cards to the next game. Hi, have you listened to my podcast? No, I won't do that.
But like women's sports, I feel like I'm trying to get in on the ground floor. Like the women's rugby team, the WER, the Exiles here in New York. It's like it's going to keep growing, and so I'm trying to get in early as a fan of
Oh,
different
yeah,
teams. You know,
see,
to like
look at
be a
you.
part of it cause it's clearly going to grow. Like women's sports everywhere is happening.
Oh, yeah.
So the talent is elite.
Oh,
the
it's
talent's very
so
high.
amazing.
It's also like there's an appreciation because they don't have an established fan base from years of corporate blah blah blah. You know, from like men's professional leagues. So there's an appreciation. They're like, you guys want to come check it out. Like it's cool. They connect with the
That's
the fans.
and
Yeah.
I actually hate watching sports, but I love watching women's sports. I will do it. I will watch it.
For soccer especially, like works so well. I think one of the things that happened to women's like college basketball and WNBA was like trying to for a while just recreate the men's game. And also like Title IX took long enough to get coaches in positions like women who had won championships and women who had had the chance to do things. So that took a while to get to. But now the women's game has adapted to fit more of the style of what women are going to do as athletes. Like it's not driving the paint and dunking. That's not going to happen. That's not going to happen, you know? So like
Right.
Yeah.
now the game has adjusted and it's like so much fun to watch. And I
It's
feel
so
like
much fun.
basketball is like has a grace to it in the the WNBA and the women's college basketball has a grace to it that I mean male basketball players are also very coordinated and
Of course, they
and,
all are. They
graceful,
are.
but
Yeah.
it's a different aesthetic, a different take on the whole game that I think makes it more exciting. And soccer like easily.
Yeah.
I grew up playing soccer and paying attention to soccer when it was like not an American sport really yet. You know, it was like the nerds and the small kids because you either played football or you were a nerd or a small kid. And so I played soccer because I was both.
Or gay.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I've been paying attention to soccer for a long time. And like on the national level, the women's team has been better than the men's team, has been proportionally better in the women's league than the, for a long time. So
I
it's kind of
love
been
this
like,
conversation
dudes, when are you
so
going to catch
much.
up with the women? The American women are crushing it.
And
For
they're
sure.
hot.
Yeah.
They're
So
gorgeous. They are
hot.
gorgeous.
I mean, Mia Hamm was one of my early crushes back when she was like a
Of course
star
she
soccer
was.
player. Yeah.
Hold on. You're such a bro. Like, you're a bro. This is my segue. I want to talk about, like, who you are, where you came from, and, like, how you came to be this totally metrosexual, gay-friendly
Is that even
bro.
a thing now? Do
I
you
don't
say
even know.
metrosexual?
I don't know.
How
It's,
do you
but
even
I mean,
describe
I remember going through the metrosexual phase, like the quarter tuck and like the hair was all the same thing. I mean, like, oh, now I have fashion. And then that was a little truncated era of metrosexual, I feel like.
Didn't work. It was Will and Grace era.
Yeah.
Right?
It was.
Like the original Queer Eye and Will and Grace. Yeah.
Like, I think of you as like a guy who's like upending toxic masculinity and being like your true authentic self when doing it.
Thank you. That's like, if I were to put a goal to it, I think that's kind of it. And what it means for me right now and where I think I am in life is, so I grew up in the South. I grew up in Alabama, and I grew up smaller and not smarter, nerdier than a lot of the kids I was around. And like also started doing theater really young and really took to it. So the small, visible gay community in Northern Alabama was a part of the theater. So a lot of my friends, a lot of my adult friends, a lot of people who helped me become a young man were gay in Northern Alabama, which is its own kind of like
That's a whole other vibe.
Yeah, it's a whole other vibe. And so I, for a long time, frankly, resented Alabama and resented the kind of person that, look, the truth is like a lot of what you hear in the news is maybe it's focusing on one type of thing, but it's like not over sensationalizing much of it at all. Like it's regressive and it's very like tribal and protective, and there's a lot of fear-based anger. And so when I was little, I was like, I can't wait to get out of here. I can't wait to be gone. I went to school in Nashville, which was a bigger city, but still in the South, and I loved it there for a few years. But I was like, I can't wait to get out of the South. I need to be somewhere else. I'm faster than this place. I'm bigger than this place, and all those kinds of like.
I can sing and dance.
Yeah, I'm gonna be a star.
Yeah.
But even before college, like how I remember feeling that way like around sophomore year of high school, where I realized there's something bigger outside of Worcester, Massachusetts. For you, where did that kick in for you? Because you were saying when you were doing theater, but was that like when you were 10, 12,
Yeah.
teen?
So credit to my parents for this too, because like sometimes on the podcast I'll talk about feedback I have from my parents now, and what I remember about being parented. But credit to them. So I'm from Huntsville, Alabama, and there's a NASA base there. And so my dad was an aerospace engineer. And that also meant like there was kind of this random influx of science and engineering, which brought culture with it from other places. So like the local orchestra, the symphony orchestra was better than you might find in other Alabama towns. And there was community theater that existed there. And, however good it was, it existed. The summer before I started third grade, there was a production of the community chorus was doing Oliver. And so my mom took me and my brother to go see it. And I just like, it clicked as we were watching this, like all these kids, I didn't know them, but I was like, all these kids are from here. Like they all just did this. And I was like, hey, Mom, how do you do this? And she said, there's an audition process. And so that fall, like the very next chance we had, I said, I want to do this. I want to audition. And so she took me to the Christmas Carol audition. And I, sang a little song.
And no hesitation. She was totally down.
She was totally down. My mom is like, she was a minister in our church and she worked for the church for a long time. She was a school teacher. And on paper, a lot of the times it looks like she kind of has like in the box of like an educator and a homemaker and raised 4 kids and worked in the church. But she's like very bright and wants bigger, like she was happy with where her life was. She enjoyed, I think she enjoyed her life, but she was all about us going to get whatever we want. Like, well, let's explore all of it. Let's figure out what you want to do.
Wow.
And to the extent that they could, afford it and had the bandwidth for it, my parents both worked really hard at letting us explore anything we wanted to try out.
Good
But
job,
that doesn't feel common for a minister.
That's true.
Especially in the South.
Yeah.
Southern
South.
minister.
Also, though, you got to think like she's a female minister in the South, which is its own way of bucking a norm. Like she, I went to a Baptist church. I didn't really know when I was little. She kind of kept, protected us from some of this, but like she was bucking that system the whole time, and she was having to fight for everything she got in the church. Yeah,
Girl, shout out to you, mama.
Yeah, yeah. Honestly, so I couldn't see all of that at the time. What I saw was like that I was really involved in the church, and then I got a little bit older. I found theater in third grade. I did Christmas Carol. In the church, I loved the performance aspect of the church too, though. I would like sing in the choir and I'd do the summer musical and whatever. And then I kind of was like, because I was a minister's kid, kind of had a little extra spotlight anyway and like ran with that, and then would like do things in the service and like love performing in church.
So she knew you had a proclivity.
Yeah.
so to speak. You like that word? That came into my head, and I was like, Jamie, you have to use it.
That better work.
I know, but she knew you had a proclivity towards this kind of thing. Like, I know my son doesn't. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah. Well, right now we're working with my son. He has an audition next week for Chip in the Beauty and the Beast Junior production they're doing at school. And I'm really trying to like test out right now because he wants to do it, but there's a lot of nerves, there's a lot of, there's a lot going on. I don't want to be a stage dad that pushes him. So I'm trying to find that nice balance of like, if you want to do this, I can help you with this, but I'm not going to push you with this,
Oh God, it's the bane of my existence. Neither one of my children. Although my son, he'll be like, no, mom, like he doesn't want to, he gets nervous and he doesn't want to perform. But he'll like come to me and be like, you know what, Mom? I am actually like the best singer. Like, Mom, do you know I can do any voice? Like, give me a voice and I can sing that voice. Okay, Orion.
But you know what, though? Look, I can tie this back in one quick motion because my son's the same way. And I love that. And I love little boys and little kids who just have the hubris is through the roof, right? Mm-hmm. And I realize that I struggle with like, I used to get triggered by it as if I'm talking to a full-grown adult who's that cocky, and I'm like, "You ain't that good, bro. Like, chill out." But I've learned to like accept it and enjoy it because he doesn't know any better yet. And as he learns more, he can chill out on like, all right, maybe I'm not the fastest kid in class. I've been beat a bunch of times now, like maybe I'm not. But the fact that it starts with that confidence, and I think that frankly, there's an arrested development in a lot of grown men who never got past some of those things, telling themselves they're the best. And then the cognitive dissonance that goes with that of being like, I have to ignore the reality around me so that I can keep telling myself that I'm the best at a thing. Like when you're a child, do that. You haven't had the experience to learn yet that you are not the best at that thing. So do it. Once you get older, start recognizing maybe you're not the best at that thing. You know?
I think one of the hardest things as a parent is like when they're at that age where they're like, anything goes and they've got these big personalities. And sometimes it's like you have these moments where you want to maybe redirect or maybe even correct because that's your own shit. Yeah. But it's like, there's a fine line of like, you want to be careful and not kill their spirit.
Yeah.
Because that's what happens as they get older, right? And that's why they're like, oh no, I can't do this and I can't do that. And it's like.
And it happened to me, because I was that kid who was like, Mom, I'm the best singer. But then something happens. And it sounds like that didn't, your mom like helped you cultivate.
In that way, yes. In some ways, absolutely. And in other ways, and this is something I come across as a parent all the time now, because I was always like determined to not be this kind of parent. But then it just happens naturally. It's like, yes, when it was like a choice to encourage me, absolutely. And I can look at it now and say, my mom had me when she was 25, and I'm the oldest of four. So by the time she was 35, there were 4 kids, and 35 is way too young to have 4 kids. And I would lose my mind. There was maybe a lack of patience, or a lot of times there was like a not fixing her face when she's talking to me about something, And so I got it in my head early on of like, I cannot bring too much feeling to this moment. I cannot like have too big emotions about this because it'll set the whole thing off. It'll like make things go sideways here. And I've always thought like, I am not going to punish my kids for their feelings. Like there's a lot that we can work with inside those boundaries, but your feelings are your feelings. And I have that thought all the time, and I still get triggered immediately. Like my 4-year-old daughter will pop off, and I will pop off right back at her. And I'm like, why am I? And Jen, my wife, has to be like, she's 4, right? She has a tiny little smooth brain. Why are you yelling at her like she's a full-grown adult? I'm like,
tiny little smooth
I can't, brain. I can't.
Wait. When you said your mom couldn't fix her face, I literally last week told my daughter to fix her face. Yeah. It's like, fix your face. And I'm like, oh my God.
I have an inner running monologue. Jamie, fix your face. Jamie, fix your face. That's what I tell myself, especially like in Zoom work meetings. Jamie, fix your face. Fix your
face. Get called out on it. Yeah, I get called out on it in work. Like thinking that I've got some space through a Zoom and like that I'm using my diplomatic voice, and they'd be like, "Hey, Jonathan, take a breath. It's okay, man." I'm like, oh.
See, my work buddies will text me and be like, "Girl, fix your face."
The one thing that I feel like as a parent that I've tried to do that I am intentional about is like, I can't always fix my face, and I can't always stop the moment of reaction, but I apologize to my kids all the time. Like I own my shit as much as I can, because one of the things that stuck with me from a kid is like, I must be wrong. Like no one else here is acknowledging that they're wrong at all. And I think that like, that's another thing I don't blame my parents for. I think it was the 80s, it was the South, it was conservative Christianity. Like the adults weren't wrong, like that just didn't happen. And so there's a lot of like having to figure out, okay, well, if they're not wrong, that means I must be now. So the things that I feel very right about are wrong, and the things that I do naturally is wrong. So like there's a lot of like feeling like I'm miscalibrated as a person, or like I'm built wrong or weird as a person. So
The struggle for me is to not act on my instinct.
yeah.
I grew up where like if I did something wrong, I got hit. Like it was just
Yeah.
a thing. Like that's just what happened. And you're right, adults are never wrong. So it's like for me, it was like undoing that instinct in me of like, don't overreact or don't. My thing with parenting was yelling. I'm a yeller.
Yeah.
And so for me, that took a while to like finally not react in
And
that
for
way.
yelling for me is a big one. My wife and I disagree about this all the time. I mean, I did not get hit. I got spanked. My parents were like, "You're going to go to your room. You're going to wait. This is like a punishment. It fits in this certain box. I'm not just getting. No one's popping off and like smacking me, but there still was corporal punishment. There was spanking that happened."
Yeah.
And my wife is an educator. She's an assistant principal, and she's like, statistically, it's all kind of the same thing. Like if there's physical punishment, it's all kind of fits in the same category. I'm like, because when we started having kids, I was like, well, we'll spank, and she was like, we absolutely will not. We're not gonna. I was like, we're not gonna hit. Like I thought you spank. She was like, no, nobody spanks. Even like I don't swing, but like I would like jerk and zip him up, or flirt. And my son is like, when he was even younger, he'd be like, "Dad, are you mad at me? What's going on?" I'm sorry,
It's
man.
now
Yes,
like
hold on.
I'll call child services. Like, you know what? Tell them I said hello.
It's so hard. So we went from this little boy who was going to go audition for Oliver.
So, audition for Christmas Carol. I got cast as the smallest part available. I think they might have written it in to add one more little boy to the show. There was like the urchin. There were like boys that had parts. There was like young Ebenezer and Tiny Tim, and then there was like a group of urchins that were kind of like they're everywhere. Little Rugrats, kind of like chorus, that was just in all everywhere. And then there was the little rich boy by himself with his rich family, which was me, in like 2 scenes total. That was it. And I ended up understudying Tiny Tim, which didn't matter, but just in case he got sick, So the being on stage was fun, and the rehearsing was fun, and the doing that was fun. But I loved being a part of a cast and being a part of like a community theater, going to the dusty old community center, the ballet classes and like adult basketball games, league. And so it like smelled like socks and was just dusty. And we would rehearse in there. And it was like, I made older friends, and I learned about this whole theater kind of misfit life, and the way that the tribe would come together to build something, like I just loved that part. And so from that point on, I auditioned as much as possible, and I would do as many. There was a children's theater in town. There was a community theater in town. I ended up going to a performance, a magnet high school. It was a public school, but and I guess magnet schools don't happen the same everywhere. But at least in Alabama, in the not so long ago desegregated South, in the 90s, the inner city schools are like the mostly lower income population student bodies. They would put a good program in there. They would put either science or arts or something, and then they would bus in kids, like an audition program, you have to bus in kids. That was my experience. I went to a high school that was a performance high school, so we did like big time musicals, and we all thought ourselves the best in the world.
Of course.
We went to the International Thespian Festival in Lincoln, Nebraska a couple of times, and would take our shows there. But being in that high school was also like, I was pumped right into an inner city school. So it was like the population in the South, really, obviously there is more mix to it, but especially in the 90s, it was like black and white. There was like, it was like 48% black, 49% white, or vice versa.
And it's segregated,
yeah,
right?
What I realized was it
still is.
But I had plenty of friends, like I had more problems with the super racist white people than I did any of the black kids in school. Like it was, but at the end of the day, I always felt like I had a more mixed and more nuanced experience in high school. And then, I get out a few years and I'm like, well, I never really went to my black friend's house, and they didn't really come to we hung out in school, but it didn't socially come with us outside of that. We still had pretty segregated existences. But the theater was one of those places where it wasn't, because we would be rehearsing
Your
for
family.
all hours. Yeah, exactly.
Your family.
And everyone the trauma and I don't know, kind of toxic relationship that goes with putting on a show. It's like, well, I don't care that you're 16. We're going to be here till 4 a.m. until you get this right. We are in tech week. School does not matter, even though you're a high school junior and school matters. But we all trauma bonding over that experience. But yeah, it really was like a family. And so that's what I took with me from there. And I liked performing. I mean, I am also vain and an extrovert and need external feedback as quickly as possible. So an audience is a good way to get that, to kind of mainline that positive feedback. I say this from the outside looking in, but especially with all the pushback to DEI and whatever, all this kind of nonsense, like in the theater world now, you look at Broadway and you're like, well, casting directors will be like, we don't have people of color auditioning. We don't have actors of color auditioning. So we're going to have to, this affirmative action kind of take means we might have to put someone in less qualified in a job, whatever. Well, you got to go back to square one and say like, being able to do theater as a kid is a pastime of privilege. My parents had to be at a level where they had the bandwidth, the funds, the time to make that happen for me, So not only are these programs not available in a lot of communities of lower income, and especially communities of color, it's like the rest of the life that goes with being able to provide a kid with that kind of experience is like, doesn't happen. So you can't just like, I never understand why we jump to the top end and say like, okay, well then fine, you get a shot. If you're a person of color and you want a shot, get a shot, even though you have not had the 20 years of experience that I did because my parents were able to have the time and the bandwidth and the money to let me do that,
Start from the ground floor.
It'll take a while, but if you want to invest in changing anything, you got to start at the ground floor.
Start down there with the kids. I actually was involved with a Park and Rec theater group, the Young People's Teen Musical Theater Company. We were the shit, but it was free. And it was a full on, like, they gave us all the training we needed. We put on shows with like actual costumes. That was all provided by the Park and Rec. And that's what formed me as an artist. And it was kids from all over the city because it was free.
The resource was
It was there.
It was available.
And
yeah,
it still exists, but it's not as good. I'm just kidding. I haven't been.
It's been slowly downhill ever since you left, I'm sure.
Yeah. So theater.
Yes.
Love it. And then you're like, I got to get out of here. And then I went to Nashville, and then I got to get out of here.
Yeah, so I went to Belmont University. Didn't go as a theater major. I went because I got the most money, and we were a big family, didn't have any more money to go to school. So it was either community college in North Alabama or I get a scholarship. And so I went to Belmont University in Nashville, and in one semester there I was undeclared, and I ended up like auditioning for and doing the opera that semester and like a show in the Black Box Theater, and was just like, well, I'm spending all of my free time doing this. Like I should not give myself any other outs. If I want to do it, I should get a degree in it and make myself pursue this. So I auditioned for and got into the musical theater program and got a Bachelor of Music in vocal performance, specified in musical theater. So then I did that and moved to New York and started as a food runner at Del Frisco's and spent a few years doing that and auditioning. And so and I met Tom in those early years doing shows at Gallery Players in Brooklyn. And I was, young. I was in my 20s and I just got into New York and I was as confident as my son is now. Like, I'm going to make it. I'm as good as it gets. And quickly realized that I was at best always going to be an actor who sings and moves well. That was going to be my type. I was not going to be the singer that blew anyone away. And I certainly wasn't going to be a dancer. Also, for a long time, for years of that, I loved New York. I loved living in New York. I loved the life of New York. So I wasn't succeeding on Broadway. I was doing equity showcases. I'd leave town a little bit. I'd do little regional shows, but I didn't like leaving town. I liked being here. I liked being I liked partying. I liked being out. I liked being a part of the vibe. And I think that when you ask, like, how did I end up where I am now? It was taking that next decade and then getting into my 30s and then realizing that I didn't have to be mad at the South. I didn't have to change everything about what I had from back then. I could recognize, like, I am what I think is, like, the logical outcome of that being raised that way. Like, the things that I learned were keep your head down, keep your mouth shut, work hard. Don't worry about what anyone else is doing. Life isn't fair. Just work hard. And then all of a sudden what I'm hearing from all these people is like, someone else took my job, or like, it's harder for me, or I don't get what I used to get anymore. And like, you guys are kind of little bitches. And like, I feel like what I took from that was like, we're supposed to just be like tough and take care of ourselves and the ones that we love without making that an angry thing, without resenting anyone for that. Like, and so that really was kind of just for me relaxing into who I had been. And then like the fast-paced life of New York. And I think that obviously being a part of theater younger was a big part of it. Like, I don't think that I've ever been ahead of the group that I'm with. I'm not more progressive or I'm not thinking steps ahead of the people that I'm around. I'm being brought forward by the people that I'm around. So when I've got when I'm in communities of color or like the gay community in the South, and like I just like it's part of my life. So I'm just like picking up things and then looking back and going to everyone else like, why are you mad at these people for being, stop being a dick to people who wanted to be themselves. Like, what is this problem? And so it all just kind of started to fit together in a way that like, I got older, I relaxed. I'm very angry, like as a person, like I carry a lot of anger. And so for a long time in New York, it was like, go, extrovert, social, also like probably some fights, some dramatic relationships, like a lot of that, like just a lot of kind of the toxicity, and it wasn't the same toxicity as like the toxic masculinity we talk about. Like now, it wasn't, the root of it was the same. It was all like insecurities and fear of someone taking what was mine and feeling like I've got to really hold on tight to what's mine. And then eventually like realizing like, oh, even though I'm preaching and ranting against these guys, I'm still sitting in the same place. Like it's still like I'm scared of losing what's mine, and I'm going to fight anyone who I think is going to take it, even if they're not trying to take it. If it appears that way to me, I'm going to be mad about it. A lot of therapy and just getting older and too tired to stay that angry, I think was a big part of it.
Yeah.
And I kind of fell into this balance of like, great, so I can be a dude. I can be a bro. I like sports. I like cutting my grass in my tiny yard.
I was going to say, like, one of the reasons that I was so excited to have you on the podcast is because I've been following you for a while. I love watching your stuff, and I kind of see you in some ways like you're sort of like my straight, like my hetero counterpart, right? Because I know, like, as an example, when parents reached out to our family to do an interview, I was kind of like shocked and surprised by it. But their intention behind it was they saw that the stuff that I was putting out was going against what we grew up with machismo and masculinity. And I'm showing my kids how to talk about their feelings and to be compassionate. And now that might be expected from perhaps a gay dad, but the fact that it was connected to the Latino community because it was Parents Latina magazine. And you also are known for pushing up against that, whatever the white version of machismo is, right? And showing parents and showing men that you can be very comfortable with your sexuality and show people how to be compassionate. And, you're obviously known for doing your nails. And that's something that I think that's something that came with a little bit of controversy and you ran with it. So I'd love for you to talk about that a little bit.
Sure.
And I think that you showing up as you and being authentic is one thing, as the gay man showing up as, but when a straight man
That's right.
shows up and explains, like, another audience of people is more apt to listen.
That's right.
And that's why it feels so special, I think.
I agree.
Thank you. And that is really nice to hear. And there's a bunch of ways I can go with it. But for a moment, I guess I'll start with, like, if we talk about the take two in my life, being getting older, becoming a father, and then finding this content platform, it's all very authentic. And I think that you probably both understand, like, you can be authentic and true and also know enough about performance and storytelling to know how to craft the story that you want to tell. And it's classically, if you take two opposing things and put them together in one, it twisted, people will go, what is this? I want to pay attention to this for a minute,
That's right.
So throughout the years, I'm sure that, like, my character traits and demeanor, there was a time when it was more metrosexual, more metropolitan, probably a little more feminine, just from the people I was, around and the way that I was behaving. And then I settled into my body and settled into I just was too tired to be that physically active with my body. And so then,
I mean, you turned into a hot dad. Please, let's keep it real.
Well, thank you.
I'm not attracted to metrosexuals personally. It's a little bit too clean shaven for me.
You like that? You like the gruff look?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, good to know. Good to know.
Good to know.
A friend of mine out west who's gay told me that one of the reasons that I work is because I remind so many gay men of their dads, but like a dad who accepts them. And I appreciate that. Like, I'll take that.
So, that is so right on and sweet.
That's spot on.
Yeah, it was like, he said, how do you say? It was like, you're helping us reparent ourselves because you are the father figure that accepts us. Like, I was like, that's
a really great way to put it.
It feels really nice.
Listen, we did a show together. You were in the ensemble. I was a lead.
You were phenomenal.
Ew, did you go, ew, I can't. I know.
No, we were like...
I have the bravado of my son. I was like, I don't give a shit that I'm an ensemble. I'm talking to the leads. I'm hanging out with the principals.
I said it the way I said it, as a joke. Like, we were all a really tight cast. But after that show...
We did the APAC Gala.
Yes.
We did that song, that APAC song, that hilarious little song.
Oh, that was fun. That was fun.
But
and then we didn't speak after that. Yeah. And then next thing I know, I'm like scrolling TikTok and I see Gregg like with this. I was like, what the hell happened? Where'd you come? Like, I saw that you were doing stand up. I was like, oh, that's cool. He's probably really good at that. And then next thing I know, you blew up. So what was it?
I'll tell you exactly what happened. I decided that I was going to stop performing. And so a week after that, my first reel went viral. Like, it was the most insane of the universe and the whatever energy that's out there. this fall was the 2-year mark of my first viral reel. Go back to COVID. So I was trying to be an actor. I was doing TV. When my son was born, my son was physically born. I was in tech for my first off-Broadway show. And I thought, the stars are aligning. I'm going to become a father as my career steps into its next phase. I'm going to be off Broadway. It's sketch comedy meets improv meets musical. So like SNL is going to see me. I'm on my way. This is it. And I've got a son now. I can do this. That show closed very early. And then COVID happened, shut the whole thing down. And so I had been like in television. I'd been working my way up to co-star, guest star. I was like, kind of chipping away and grinding up slowly, which is how my whole career has gone. It's like there was never a huge break, plenty of little breaks, but no giant jump, right? And so I'm chipping away at it, and COVID shuts it all down. During COVID, we found out my wife was pregnant, started to freak out, buy a house, start redoing that. We come back from COVID. Not long after that, the SAG strike, the writer and the actor strike happens. So it was just like back-to-back years of just no work even being available. Like the one thing I was doing was an improv show in the East Village called Batsu, which is hilarious and really successful and just doesn't pay enough to be a full-time performer gig. And it was in the evenings. And so it was getting to this point. There were 2 kids at home. I was barely making any money. And I was like, all right, I keep trying to find a job, but also holding on to my audition schedule and trying to keep this happening. And I just eventually had to say, I have to cut it. I also had the privilege and gift of my brother-in-law is an entrepreneur, had a position at a company. He was like, do you want to come work for me? And I said, yes, I do. I'm going to do that. And I'm going to
Huge decision, though. Such a hard and scary decision. Because when I decided to stop, I still mourn it. I still feel like I'm in mourning over the fact that I let that go. There. Yeah, I didn't get there and I let it go.
That's one of the biggest things for me is like accepting, like being able to say, okay, I failed. I had a goal. The goal was to be on Broadway. The goal was to be able to make a career in performance, and I did not do that. And everyone's like, "You didn't fail. Your career is great, and it's not over yet." And like all this, sure. Yes, sure, 100%. But financially, as the provider of a family, I failed as a performer in that way. So I got to cut it. And there was a lot of time in therapy, really trying to like making the decision was one thing. I felt proud of it. It's like this is a hard decision. I can do it. Then it was weeks of like, oh, this feels very strange. Like this is weird and hard. Started working for my brother-in-law's company. I had settled into like, okay, this is the next phase. Maybe it's only till the kids are older. Who knows? But right now, it's a real stop. And I had also, over the years, like in performance in the industry, you have to have a following to get auditions for. Like you have to have a presence to even be cared about. So I was always just like throwing shit at the wall on Instagram, trying to make some kind of like recurring bit stick or trying to make some kind of content that would work or be a thing, and like none of it was ever anything. And I one night was just sitting in the car and had a kind of funny idea. Our mother-in-law had the kids, which thank you, Eileen, for watching the kids. But she like multiple times needed our Disney Plus password to get in so the kids could watch whatever Bluey I think they wanted to watch or whatever. And so I made a little reel about how like this generation of parents were raising soft grandparents because they just have access to so much like Disney. Like when I was a kid, if I was at my grandparents, if I wanted to watch TV, it was laying in bed with my grandmother to watch Matlock or Murder, She Wrote,
And my children.
Yeah.
I was going to say Young and the Restless Days of Our Lives.
Yes.
You know what? And I never got the soap opera thing. Luckily, my grandmother needed some murder in her life. She needed like the dead body of murder.
Oh, you clearly haven't seen the Spanish novelas. It's a lot of murder.
That's true. I did get not a good exposure to the novella. But like it was like those TV shows, and then there were 2 VHS types of like
Sound of Music.
No, but that's a great one. That's what that was one of the ones we had at home. Was one of the musicals we would watch. She had Dances with Wolves and Fried Green Tomatoes, like not children movies at all. So like that's what I would watch. So I made this reel, and like really like I know for me, I know inside my body and my soul, I posted it for the 1,100, 1,200 friends I had at the time, followers I had at the time, like whatever. This is not anything. Right. I was the most separated I felt from needing that thing that I had felt in 20 years. And I got out of the show that night, and it had like a whole bunch of views, and my followers in a couple hours had jumped up a couple thousand, and like Kristen Bell liked it, maybe reposted it or something. Like there was some celebrities got a hold of it and put it out. And then by the next morning I had like 10,000 followers, and I was like, well, shit, man. Like I was going to be done with this. And now I feel like it's like I got that back in my veins a little bit. I was like, oh God, now I need
that dopamine. That dopamine. Yeah.
I could just see your wife like, oh, shit.
I know.
Here we go.
I feel bad for her. She was finally like, finally, okay, we can just be like grown-ups. We can have jobs who just like do regular stuff. Yes, it was to get that fix. But also I had a stable of ideas that I wanted to, like I had content, I'm always writing and I'm always like making notes on things that might be funny and whatever. And I was like, well, all right, let's take some swings because now there's a bit of an audience. If something else catches, like maybe this rolls, like the way that one thing that I've always been able to be clear about in this style of performance is the algorithm is the Lord and God creator. Like it does, you do whatever the algorithm wants you to, however well the algorithm wants you to do. So I get that. So I don't attach as much of myself to it as I used to as a performer because like, all right, I know that I'm trying to hit a target thing here. And if I can stay genuine and hit that target, that's where it works.
When you're first starting out, you do become obsessed with it. They're like, and then after a while, you got to let it go.
Yeah. Yeah. And so,
especially because the algorithms change now it feels like every month they're switching on how it works.
So you go viral and then you're back in it. And then now you're having like a really strong take two moment and you're going with it. And I feel like you're using it for good, like a superhero.
Yeah.
Thanks. I guess I'm trying to do that, but only because like that's what feels good. I get like, there's a world, like I talked to Jen about like, maybe I find a community theater to be a part of and I do theater again to scratch that separate kind of itch. But right now it's like part of it, I think what pivoted for me in my mind is like, I have a platform. I love that. If I could figure out how to like make money and make something out of it, great. But I want it to be for what it is, which is I'm not an expert on anything. I am a product of the people that helped me get here. And that has made me into a person who is like heterosexual and also not afraid to be friends with gay people. Like I've always been like, if you're that worried about being around a gay dude, like you're probably a little gay. Like just like I hang out with hot shirtless guys all the time and don't feel the need to hook up with them. Like I don't know why you're so worried about it. You're probably gay. Like so that that to me just like it's not even doesn't take extra steps to get there. I'm like this is fun. This is how I like my life. And if putting that out there and the nails thing is kind of its own. So the second like jump kind of in my presence was I made a reel that started beef with my daughter's preschool teacher, her like 3K or even before that, like she was in a 2-year-old preschool. And this wonderful woman, Miss Yolanda, like would do her hair. Little girls would take a nap and they come up with, bedhead and so they would just like fix their hair. And she's this lovely Ecuadorian woman who like was really good at, just all the braids and whatever. And I also would do Sydney's hair because I am the drop-off parent. I do drop-off and pick-up. And, like, I have younger sisters. I've always, like, I can do a braid. I can do a little bit of hair.
I was going to ask you about those braids. I can't do braids.
Well, I tell you what, man, I've fallen off. It's gotten rusty. If you want to try and learn together, I'll get back into it. And,
you have an excellent braider right here.
I know. As soon as I walked in, I was like, are you doing this on purpose? Are you trying to taunt me right now? Are you?
You want me to braid your hair?
So I did this reel where I was talking about what a bully Miss Yolanda was because I would send my daughter to school. And the truth is, one day, Sydney has a wonderful imagination and would just like make up bonkers stories to tell her teachers. And so Miss Yolanda would check in with me after school sometimes to see if there was any truth to the thing that she was talking about that day. And one of those things was Miss Yolanda picking up Sydney one day. Miss Yolanda said, "Dad, Sydney said that Dad did her hair today, and it was like a braid or whatever." And I was like, "Dad did do her hair. Thank you very much." Like, she's telling the truth on this one. Miss Yolanda is lovely, and she was a wonderful teacher, and she was really great to Sydney and to us as a family. But it felt like maybe she upped her hair game once she realized that I was the one doing it, and I was like, "Stop! Don't fix my. You don't need to get in there and fix my braids, all right?" So I made a reel that was about that, and it's like my. I guess my hetero tone, man, bro, dude tone, but talked about, doing a fishtail, like Princess Elsa of Arendelle, and talking about like the different braids and stuff and whatever. And I was painting my nails during it.
And this is when you caught my attention. This is when
that was the one. Okay, I didn't know when because
a fishtail. I can't.
And that's like it's. Watching you and watching I love watching your family. I love watching what you do, and that's a thing that I am not going to be able to do. I'm not a gay dad, and I don't want to be a gay dad. That's a great lane watching, and it was kind of like once I started realizing I was growing a platform, I was like, well, I don't really know what else to do. Or I don't know how far nails and hair takes me, but like, let's see. So and then the election just really disappointed me in a major way. I don't really like when people say, political. It is about politics, but my stance has never been about politics. It's about the people involved, and it's about culture and
human rights, just, that little thing.
And again, this is where you and I also have these parallel worlds, because a lot of our stuff was around family content and a lot of it was relatability. And then politics did come in and the election happened. And then our feed became a bit political. And, being part of Kamala's campaign, we put so much work into that. And then you and I, like, and of course, before coming on, I was like, going through some of your old stuff. And it's like, yeah, him and I were on the same trajectory of talking about the injustices and that are happening to almost every single American. And the way that you deliver it, the way that we deliver it, it's in a way that, I do like my walking videos. So people feel like they're there with you. You're in your car or whatever it is. And it's like people feel like they're there with you. And I tell my kids all the time, whenever we talked about getting recognized, whenever we do get recognized, some of the things I say, sometimes I tell them, it's like, we're getting recognized for putting good things out to the world because we're taking a stand. And this is one of the things I love about you is because you're taking a stand. And as a hetero white male, which we need so desperately in communities of color, in the LGBTQ community, what you said earlier is right. They will listen to you before they listen to me.
And definitely won't listen to me.
But
well, if you stop being so mouthy about it.
I know. God, I think I piss people off too much. That's what I'm getting from this. Is my political videos just piss people off.
It's too emotional. And it's a little chatty.
I'm a little too chatty, a little too hot tempered.
Maybe you should do like a multitask of braiding while you're pissing
I have
people
those
off.
things called boobs. I have vagina. I just said vagina.
But to see that, we can say vagina on here. It's allowed.
I was so glad to hear you say shit. I wasn't sure so now I'm like, okay.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Very cool.
Okay.
But to see that shift in your feed, it doesn't feel like it felt organic, and it still does. And we're still doing family content, and we're still talking about things that piss us off or that make us laugh, and it's great to see. It's shown that your platform has grown naturally and organically, and I think that's important for people to see.
Thanks. And one of the things that I've struggled with, or that I am motivated to, and you both, and you are inspiration for me for this, or motivation for me, is that like I live my life. What I put out there is the genuine way that I live my life, and that's how I would interact with people in the world. That's how I treat my day to day. But I'm also not doing a lot else. Like I'm not really taking a much bigger stand at anywhere else IRL. I'm not. I'll go to protests. I mean, I will be at whatever march I can be at, but I'm not. A lot of it is just parenting head down with two small children. It's like I can't think of anything else. Like I'm underwater all the time anyway. But what the content that I put out, I want to have a message. And yeah, sometimes I have a hard time with it, but sometimes it can just be chilled out and be funny. It's okay to still just like be
where your sense of humor is intact, and that is to me the number one key.
But I even coming here and doing this, it's like another step of interacting. We're here in person, and yeah, this will be out on digital platforms, but like we're I dealt with a train today. The train was obnoxious, and it's like I haven't done this for a while. We
don't do this anymore. Post pandemic, you do. You get out and about.
And that's the thing is like you're out in the world doing
it.
And
that's
don't
until I met this guy, and now I'm like in a studio, and like actually like, and I only have to walk to this studio.
I was telling Jimmy, I was like, we're not doing this. We're going to be in a studio.
So the content that I put out, like yes, some of it has reach, and like I stand behind what I say, but it's also like usually me alone in my car, or like me in my office. Like it's just me and my phone. You in
a silo.
And so the next step, take 2, scene 2, I want to get more involved IRL. I want to figure out how to be out in it a little bit more. That still that feels like I'm an extrovert. And so it's one thing to have this thing that's performance and also getting a message across, but it's not interacting with people at all, and like comments and videos and collabs and things like that, like whatever, all of it when it's through digital, sure, but it's not the same as being in a room, and like.
Although I would say like, yeah, you're right, but not lessen the impact that you've had on so many people. When I say so many, we're talking about millions, right?
Yeah.
It's like you're not just putting up a black box. You're not just putting up a pride flag. You are speaking true to who you are.
Well, I genuinely want to fight Nick Fuentes in a charity boxing match.
Yes.
So it is true. It's
I was going to
genuine.
ask about that as
I wanna
well.
keep it out
It's
there.
like,
So see
yeah.
Now that he's getting a little closer to mainstream too,
Oh.
like I feel like we should make that happen.
You're
It
poor
We should
wife.
make that happen.
You're
You hear
poor
that, Nick
wife.
Fuentes?
You're poor-
feels like an interesting name to be such a white supremacist. It feels like
He's
that's
problematic.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, yeah.
Yeah, he's not like
He's like just a troll. Like he's
he's
just
just a troll. Wait, so my takeaway here from take 1 to take 2, and what I am hearing as the real moment that things like shifted into like a new, like you went into a new stratosphere and into your take 2 is when you stop
Take 2
doing,
era.
your take 2 era, to use the gay way, when you stop doing the thing and relaxed a bit.
yeah.
And
Which
then,
is like
which is
what
like,
they've always said and
it's
always
so
going
cliche.
into it and like
and then from the silence, you filled a void that was needed in the world. Right. And that's kind of like this recurring theme that is happening with the guests that we are talking to. It's like from some extreme change came a silence that then prompted the person to fill a void that was in themselves, but was also a really universal void. And that's how we came to this great big take 2 sequel, which is better than take 1.
I'm so attracted to you right now.
Look,
Where you
and
just-
I'm a lesbian.
Stop
I'm a
it.
lesbian.
She's not wrong.
That
Yeah.
was wonderfully put. Yeah, I absolutely think that. And I think that one of the things that my anger provided for me is, with my belief structure and like on one hand, I think that across the board we could be more obviously we could be more accepting of people as they are, and if males have feminine qualities, females have male qualities, who gives a shit? It doesn't matter. But also
Gender's a bunch of malarkey
Yeah.
anyways.
But also like my norms are pretty heteronorm down the middle broy, and I still have these other thoughts. So I'm like, I didn't change anything about who I am. I don't have to be. I'm still a dude, and in fact, I feel like you guys changed what you were saying, and you grabbed onto masculinity and you made it this scared, fragile, abusive thing.
That's right.
Instead of like fucking chilling out. Sorry, I don't know if I can say that one.
You
But
can
instead
say
of,
it all. You can fucking say it all.
Arrested development I was talking about, and the regressive thinking. Like I don't even like saying conservative. The problem, because conservative thinking is not a bad thing out of context as a phrase. Like
Yeah.
being slow and thoughtful about the way you do things and conservative in a process is not a problem.
Right.
Being regressive in your thought process is a problem. And so this idea that like
What a
masculinity,
distinction. That's so important.
when you say conservative, it sounds like you mean conservative and liberal, and then it's just like a different name for two different political parties, and that's not what
Yeah.
I'm talking about.
Yeah.
It's a thought process. It's just it's a way of, I guess an ethos. I don't know if that's the right way to use that, but it feels like all of these things stopped. And so this brand of masculinity that exists right now, I said the right, like not, but like,
right.
the Nick Fuentes of the world that they are holding on to, because it's not right and left at this point. Like a lot of the left side, there's a softer feminine quality to like the men who live on this side, and then it becomes this soy boy kind of thing that it also becomes offensive and
Snowflake
pejorative, and
the women. It's the
Right.
you stupid
but
snowflake.
this strong masculine
Get a
thing
brain.
that like the iconic kind of thing that exists has been stuck in really like late 1800s. Like it's like you got to be a farmer and a cowboy, and we don't need those. We need farmers and cowboys. We don't need everyone in metropolitan Alabama to be a farmer and a cowboy.
Right.
Like now you're just carrying around this like need for discomfort and this fear for
Right.
like you haven't moved forward at all.
It's a facade.
Yeah.
It's not. It's put on.
Yeah.
Right. And let's get down to the juice. That sounds so disgusting.
What?
The juice of what we are.
The crux.
And that
To
like
use a lesbian term,
and that
the juice of what we are. Gross.
is
You
it-
go.
is that a- is that a-
I'm gonna shut up.
Juice? Like, what kind of juice are we talking
I
about?
mean, Jose,
The crux.
the crux.
that's and almost like that getting into the juice of it is what I want to leave to smarter people like the two of you and like more involved people. Like for me, it's like I do my daughter's hair. I paint my nails for 3 reasons. One is because it's an easy lane. If you can allow yourself to do it, there's a lot of space between me and the next step up. Like I can take a lot of that lane as a straight guy who paints his nails, and I don't feel any kind of way about it. So like,
If I see you as a straight guy who paints his nails at a restaurant, I'm like, I like him.
Yeah.
Just off the bat.
Frankly, because the bar is pretty low for straight white dudes. And so if you see anything like that, you're like, this guy's stepping
Straight
outside a
cis
little
white
bit.
dudes.
Like,
Yeah, totally.
Right. And what are your other two reasons?
For to know how to do it, so that I can do it, so that I can provide for her or my wife or any, or my son.
Mm-hmm.
And the third reason is that I want my son specifically, but both of my kids to see hopefully a boring, like hopefully they love me and idolize me forever, but also like just a boring dad who's just their dad, who is not impressive. He's just their dad. Paint his nails, because my son they're both going to come across misogyny in school. They're both going to come across this, rooted in kind of like woman hating kind of patriarchy so they're gonna hit that. So I want them to see me, who is broy and their dad, and yells at them and does all the things that a dad does. That's where I would love for it to get those kinds of things to get to, because it's so weak to care about. Like, who cares? We're not even talking about, it seems to me like an easier step to just the thought process of like, well, if you're going to be a man who's so strong in your manhood and so strong in your masculinity, why do you give a shit what someone else is doing with their fashion choices? Like,
yeah.
Right.
My wife doesn't love that I have a mustache. She cares about that as much as she does me painting my nails. And that's, you don't have to paint your nails. You don't have to like people with painted nails, but you probably shouldn't think less of them for having their nails painted,
Or a mustache.
Yeah, yeah.
You do you, boo.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, last question.
Yeah.
And this is going to be our closeout. What is something the little boy you would be shocked if he had like a glimpse into the you are today? What is something the little boy you would be like, hell no, that is not me? Honestly,
the little boy me would be shocked by the normalcy of my personal life, that I have a wife and 2 kids and cars and a mortgage. The being in New York and the having a platform, definitely expected that. But
you always knew you were going to get out of Alabama.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I love that.
The platform might be a little small. I might be disappointed by that if you were to go back to 3rd grade me and ask. But honestly, the little boy me would be surprised by how happy I am with the the heteronormative, like the social norm life that I have, and how happy I am with that.
Oh, that's a nice answer.
I like that. That's really good.
Blurred backgrounds on Zoom.
Take 2. It can stay.
You like that?
Yeah.
I have strong feelings.
Why do you have strong feelings?
I have strong feelings about the blurred background. I don't blur my background because I want you to see the mess behind me. You're calling me into this meeting that I'm having to do for work, and my kid's homesick from school. I want you to see the mess behind me, so you know my world.
Convinced.
Oh.
And the people who blur their backgrounds, I think, what are you hiding,
You don't
Susie?
trust
I'm hiding the mess. I'm hiding the stacks of things on the table behind me.
What are you, a CIA operative? What is so bad behind you that you don't want me to see? I can't stand the blurred background. And then like the Golden Gate
I don't like
Bridge
any of
behind
those.
I don't do
you.
any of that stuff.
I'm like, do I know you're not in San Francisco? Because that's where I'm from. I don't like the.
I don't see traffic.
I guess that one was mostly for me. So everybody else is okay with the blur.
No, I think you convinced me. I like that because I show up to these meetings not being authentically myself. I think like, all right, I got to clean up a little bit. I still take meetings in t-shirts. I don't get dressed up for home meetings.
Well, I appreciate you for that. I think you should show up as your true authentic self on Zoom.
You're right. Convinced.
Back to school photos on social.
I think I'm okay with it. Take 2. I don't do it. Well, we actually do, and I've been close friends because of my, grandparents. We want to see the kids do it, but we'll never have a board that has all the things filled in. That's just never going to happen. Like we have a little light box, but like we lost the letters to the light box, so we can't even put the whole thing in there anymore. So
you should just put it up without the stuff in it.
Just the letters we have. It's like
There you go. I like to make fun of those posts. So like when we do it, I'm going to do that next time.
That's so funny. But I mean, like no shade to you if you do it. Like I do love to see your kids on social media.
Yeah, that's why I'm going to say I'm not like, you can keep doing it.
Keep doing it.
The other thing is like, I don't have major issues with a lot of the things that are like that, trends on social media. I'm very much of the mindset of like, I can just scroll past it. Like, I don't need to be mad at you for doing this thing.
If you don't like what you see, scroll
get
on
past
by.
it. Yeah.
Scroll on by.
Honestly, thank you for being who you are and showing up in the world. And I don't know, like we need more dads like you out there.
It's been amazing.
Thank you guys both very much. And you're both inspirations, honestly. So it's really fun I've loved you since I got to watch you star in that show while I was in the ensemble, and been following you for a while now. It's been really fun and inspiring. And so I really appreciate you guys having me here. Thank you.
I love you. Well, folks, that's a wrap. Thank you so much for tuning in.
And make sure you're following us, subscribing, and liking on all of the social media.
Write us a little review, rate it, do all the things, and make sure to follow us.
Yes, it's at
Love Take 2 Pod. That's Love Take 2 Pod. Do all the things. Thanks so much. We'll see you next time.